I have just been yapping and yapping about getting this Fox body running, and today is also not the day that we get the Fox body running. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Nick, you're watching Olsen Auto, and this is my 88 Fox body now. Got it to turn over, kinda almost sounded like it wanted to run for like a second or two a few videos back. Doesn't want to, and I haven't really honestly looked into it since. I did notice there were 0 timing marks on the car, so I ordered the little bracket that allows us to time it. Look at this big B. Anyway, ignoring the wildlife here, I have that piece. It's on the way. I can't really do much until it's in because I want to make sure that my distributor is even somewhat close. It might be 180 out. I honestly have no idea. Can't really make much progress here, but if you guys remember in the last video, the 79 Firebird here made some really great progress. We did a custom Starlight headliner. Looks fantastic, and a lot of you were wondering, why would you do a headliner in a car where the rest of the interior looks like this? I mean, of all the things to focus on, why a headliner? There's a very specific reason I did the headliner. The clearance between the bucket seats and the headliner, maybe that much. Maybe that much. So the problem is the clearance between a roll cage and the headliner is like that much. So I think you see where I'm going with this. We're putting the roll cage in the Firebird. Now, it's a few steps before we can do that. There's a few trim pieces that I don't think they can go in until the cage is in. I honestly don't want to find out the hard way because they would just theoretically never get installed at that point. So I took another day of PTO because I'm a horrible person. The next week is going to rain and I want to get the roll cage welded in this weekend. So took a day of PTO here from work again, and I'm going to paint up all of the trim pieces that, you know, can only be done now before the cage is in. I'm kind of guessing what pieces those are, but I'm going to try to get most of the interior done, sans the carpet and the cage itself today. And then I'm not sure if it will be in this video or the next one where we actually do the cage. Depends how long this takes me, because this could take 30 minutes. This could take 3 days. I don't know, but let's get a startup of this thing. If she wants to start, that's always the question. It should start. I took it to the gym this morning. Glorious. Taking a moment of silence and just listen to that. All right, that's enough time wasted. Let's go ahead and let's rip some two-step. Alrighty, so as you can see, these interior pieces are not really the best looking pieces. These are gray, these are kind of blue, kind of rat poop colored. These are gray, blue, rat poop colored. They're not optimal, I'll be completely honest. This has like a teal going to it, that might be algae. These ones are what go along the top. Those ones go on the top, and then that goes down to the back window, and then these sit on the bottom near the wheel well. You guys can kind of see how that would fit. So all of this needs to be painted tan, but I also need to prep the area behind them because, again, I probably won't be able to get these off. So of course, to transport the cage and all the bits to Seth's house to get this welded, I had to take the seats out to get it in. Initially, definitely going to take some work to get that roll bar to fit. I'm not going to put the passenger seat back in just yet because there's no reason to. I do have to put my driver's seat back in. Of course, it is out. This is the roll cage right here. An 8-point, technically a half cage with the door bars. So right around here, there'll be a door bar. My concern, how am I going to get a fixed back bucket seat when there's a bar? I guess that's a bridge I'll have to cross when it comes to it. I don't know. We'll find out. It is extremely hot out, and I have to drive an all-black car with no tint, no AC, and a hole next to the header. About 20 miles. A car that is known to run a little hot, too. This is gonna suck. Okay, I did not film much, but as you can see, welder in the background. Got the MIG going, got the cage here. I did swap out my thermostat, so it originally had a 160 up top. I swapped it for a 160. I'm wondering if the thermostat over there wasn't just bad, because if this thermostat was already bad, that would explain it. I have no idea how to tell if it was. So it's got a new thermostat. That was very simple. My power steering fluid's low, but I don't have any, so it will stay low for now. And Seth is in there welding up the floor plates for the main hoop, which of course right here I had to pull the bars in a little bit, just use some tension and cut them down to length for my height in my car. Got the first plate right there, second one over there, and then those two, I'm gonna tack weld it down, just so it stays up in the right position. And then got the cross brace for the actual harness, 2 door bars, 2 additional braces that go in the trans tunnel, and then 2 that go into the trunk onto the rear frame rail. So a lot of welding. I got the floor plate somewhere. It's literally just squares of steel, so it's nothing special, but it's gonna be a lot of welding. I think the trunk braces will be easy. I don't think it'll be too bad. And as far as paint is concerned, I picked up this lovely gloss almond, so it will kind of blend in with the headliner and carpet. As far as the interior trim is concerned, I got these side panels on, and I got this one. Those aren't perfect, however, they're good enough. This car was going to need a new interior anyway as far as panels are concerned, so I'm rocking those for now. Maybe if I can down the line, I'll update it and put newer stuff in. It's still just sagging a little more than I want. It's good for now though. It's good enough. Okay, a lot of welding. I guess more so a lot of general fabrication. With the thermostat replaced earlier, like I said, I wanted to get a little bit more done tonight, but I think we're on the right track and kind of got the groove going. So just to give you guys an idea for what we're looking at, the hoop is tacked in at the bottom, which is good because we're going to need to break those tacks in order to paint it. As you can see, got a little bit more weld right there on the actual bar that the harness is going to go to. So the harness bar itself has a little bit more weld. It's not done yet. Of course, have to pull it out in order to finish it. So that'll be easy enough. You guys can see pretty good fitment to the headliner as a whole. It's not touching anywhere, but it is there, which is awesome. And that side is the exact same way where the harness bar is welded and it's not down here. So that's just tacked. Now we are working on the rear bars. So they attach up to the top up there. They go back through that hole and then into the trunk, tying into this rear frame rail. So as you guys can see, one of the plates is done and the other one, it's there, but it's not welded. I'm gonna call it a night. It's already 10 o'clock and I don't want to rush or hack things together for the sake of getting it done fast. This is a very permanent modification, so it's important to me that it gets done properly the first time. Again, it doesn't have to be the prettiest weld in the world, but it has to be safe and it has to hold. So for the time being, going to somewhat clean up for the night. I'll be back here tomorrow to get everything finalized. Again, once I have my own garage, it'll be a little bit easier because I won't have to drive here to finish it. But that is looking pretty good. I'm gonna end tonight here. This video is not over. We're going to have the cage finished today, well, in this video. So yeah, let's cut to tomorrow. Day 2 of the roll cage debacle. You'll notice it is no longer in the car. Was able to measure out the legs. You'll see it's not sitting very even, but going to weld up these rear support braces while it's out of the car, because otherwise that would be against the headliner. Wouldn't ever be able to weld that. So gonna weld this out of the car, put it back in. Of course, it's gotta be painted, but actually we should be good to weld this fully, paint it, and then put it in, do the door and transmission bars. Just depends how fast that paint wants to dry. All right, so the cage is welded, like fully welded, at least this section. Seth did this. As you can see, it looks a lot better than my welds, which were proudly ground down. So gonna throw some paint on this, make it look decent. It's still very hot, so just gonna paint from here up and then about here up so I can let that dry, put it in the car, do the door bars and the trans tunnel braces, and then we will be good to go. Hopefully this dries in like an hour or two and doesn't take forever. Of course, it is very humid out. 4 or 5 coats of the paint. Got a pretty good coverage. Of course, I didn't paint the whole cage because there still has to be some welding done. Putting it back in the car right now, was able to paint it and then put it back in here, as you guys can see. Now that leg welded to the car, very secure. Going to have a bar that goes there to the trans tunnel and there to the trans tunnel. And then of course the 2 that go to the back, and then 2 are gonna come off of that union, and those are gonna be my door bars. So That's what these longer ones are. Those are 2 door bars, and then these are the 2 trans tunnels. So this should be pretty secure. I want to try and get the feet welded in the back today, and then that should be it for today, calling it wraps. Hopefully tomorrow get a little bit more done to finalize this so that I can have a cage, I can get it all painted, and then I can do my sound deadening, my carpet, my insulation. There's another hole in the floor that I do have to fix. We're thinking we can patch that up pretty well, so once that's all done, I can actually put a carpet in it, and it'll be somewhat decent to drive, maybe. Got the 2 in the rear squared away, and then the trans tunnel. These separate braces going to the trans tunnel, got the plates there. Using this as sort of a straight edge to make sure the bars aren't walking side to side. Gonna weld those 2 together. Should come out pretty decent. Huh. Fire. The car's caught on fire 7 or 8 times now, but it's a Pontiac. It's a fire chicken. It's supposed to, right? So I didn't realize how much of a pain getting in and out of this car would be. Got the 2 floor plates there and there for the front door bars, but like, look at how, there's just no gap between the steering wheel and that door bar. Gonna be a nightmare, that's for sure. It is with great pleasure that I announce the car still runs. There is a wire that I had going near the tank area. It was a brown wire. It broke in half and it's no longer connected. I don't know how long ago that happened because I just started the car. It still runs. It still has a fuel gauge, so I'm not sure what it was. Clearly it didn't matter too much. So that wire's fine, but you will notice the door bars are in. They're welded to the floor. My ground straps are all back together. The whole cage is done, and it looks really good. Some of these welds are absolutely beautiful. Some of mine are, well, not so beautiful, but it ain't falling out anytime soon, I'll tell you that. My concern is getting my fixed back bucket seat into this car. So, not much room to work with. I just took the steering wheel off. Gonna roll the car back so I can open the door fully, but I don't know if the seat's gonna fit. Gonna be a little bit of a challenge, so let's see what we can do. Well, with the cage done in the car back home, I guess we have to paint it, right? Well, I decided not to time-lapse it because it was hot out and I was shirtless, and I don't feel like a time-lapse of me shirtless painting my roll cage with a paintbrush is really all that appealing, so I decided to not film that. Roll cage is painted, and you'll notice the seat is back in, and I was smart enough to scratch the cage putting the seat back in, but I will touch that up eventually. The cage is all painted and it looks amazing now with some paint on it. Obviously I didn't really care what happened to the floors because that's all getting painted, sound deadened, and carpeted. So everything looks really good in here. I did go in the trunk as well. You can see I missed a few areas, but I have to notch out that metal anyway. Came out really, really good though. It looks fantastic. I am very, very pleased with the results of the roll cage. Fitment itself was pretty easy to make the cage work in the car. The paint laid pretty nice. This is actually just Rust-Oleum, just their brush on enamel. So I need to get my seat properly cleaned, but I'm gonna bolt this down, put the wheel back on. I gotta get a quick release and take it to the gym, but I am very sweaty. It's really hot out. I'm gonna end this video here. I didn't think I'd get the cage in, painted, and completely done in this video, but with the power of a welder, anything is possible, I suppose. And thank you to Seth for helping me weld most of this. My welds don't look good, his do, so I really appreciate the help. I do want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to see more F-body content and a 6-liter LS supercharged swap, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell because that is happening. That was an impulsive decision of mine, but it's in the works, so that's gonna get done over the winter. If you guys did like this video, be sure you hit that like button. Like I said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.